Start. Hi guys, this is Eileen Asher. I'm the host of Artists with Anxiety. I am here with Cecily King. Cecily King. I'm sorry, I already messed it up. And I'm very honest with this thing. I don't bother. I rarely edit unless somebody wants me to. I just own my mistakes and move on. And that I don't care. And like you said, I would rather spend my energy doing other things than worrying about how I sound or how I look or anything like that. So let's dive in. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What kind of a creative are you?
I'm mostly a writer and a poet. I do all kinds of different little fiddly crafty things, sometimes with paper or clay. I used to make a lot of jewelry.
Ooh.
I haven't as much lately. I do a little bit of everything.
So you just talked to me about your other alias, so can you tell me a little bit about that? You're the sign lady.
Oh yeah, I'm the sign lady. Yeah, so I've been doing that for about 6 months, I think. August, September. I think about 6 months.
Feels like it.
I don't know, it feels like a long time sometimes. And it's usually every other week on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And put up anywhere, I think the smallest run I've done is 6, and I think the biggest run I've done is 18.
Okay.
And it 18 doesn't sound like a lot, but it feels like a lot when you're doing it.
Yeah, when you're out in the cold putting them all up. And
Right. So yeah.
I don't blame you. Well, that's awesome. I love seeing them around town, so
Thank you.
I'll be including pictures too anyway, so it's not just talking heads. But so why don't you tell me and the audience what you're only comfortable with, but what kind of mental health issues are you battling with?
I've had depression as long as I can remember, and anxiety, but I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Until I was in my 20s, I think.
Oh.
You know, so it's like, well, everybody feels like their heart's going to explode.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, that's not.
That's really not. Yeah, I found that out too. I'm like, you guys don't panic every time you have to leave the house or think about leaving the house. Your heart rate doesn't go up. Like, no. Oh, okay. All right then. So, right into the nitty-gritty questions then. So how do you still create when you're feeling depressed or you're feeling anxious?
I just do it anyway, or sometimes I make something about that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of what I write is pretty grim. But I think that helps too, that even that writing that you are not producing something beautiful, but you are still getting that out of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so nervous all the time about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, I choose to look at it a different way and make it freeing rather than constraining, because I'm already nervous. I already feel like I'm going to die. How much worse is it really going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm already freaked out. I might as well just do stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a certain amount of bravery to that. For sure. I mean, being able to, you've now that you've been in the public eye for the past 6 months, I've seen articles written about you and videos produced by you, or about the signs that you're making, and to be able to write about what your experiences are from a personal level, it takes a lot of bravery. So that's despite being depressed and anxious, I'm like, that just amazes me how creatives can still manage to fight through all that. So when you're dealing with these issues, what steps do you take to stay creative?
I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot. And I do audiobooks when I'm at work or when I'm commuting. I have a lot of art in my house, as you can see. And I think that helps. If you have art around you that you like, that makes you feel good, that makes you think or makes you happy or even makes you sad, I think that helps you want to do things and make things. And like I said, I've had this kind of stuff going on my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always dealing with it. I've always been dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's like to function like a normal person.
I mean, it is a normal for you.
Yeah, this
And
is
for
my
anybody
normal.
with it, I've talked to a lot of people with like PTSD, depression, anxiety, and I've got anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It is a normal. It's just my normal.
Right. And there's things that I want to do, and I cannot say that what I'm doing is not affected by that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I let that just stop everything, then it wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So could you tell me about a time when you had to mentally fight to be creative? Like what was the result and how did you get through that?
Well, no, it happens a lot. I mean, so like I said, I write a lot. A lot of the stuff I write about are hard things, and there are things that I want to write about that I just can't get down. Like I can't grab it the right way. So you just keep trying. And some of it, like with the sign thing, I have some autoimmune stuff. I'm really sensitive to cold, and this winter has not been awesome.
No.
I don't think winter in Ohio was ever awesome.
No.
Not really built for this crap, but we're here. So,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
there have been a few days going out this winter where it's just like, I don't feel that great. I'm like more tense than usual, which is already pretty great.
Yeah,
you know?
right, exactly.
And it's cold, and sometimes I go and do this by myself, and it's going to take forever, and you just go. It's just like with anything. You just go and you just do it. And if it goes badly, then it did.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it goes badly with anything, with doing signs or with writing or drawing or making anything, the thing that you do really badly is still more well done than the thing you didn't do.
Yeah, I love that, actually. That's awesome.
See, I was like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Advice. Oh my god.
So you might as well just roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Do you how often do you think it ends up? Do you think it ends? You get I'm trying to think of how to word this. Do you think of like if it's more of a relief more often than not to get to at least try to be creative, or do you still feel that anxious when you're done?
It depends. I'm always like this. So I think there's a satisfaction, especially if you're writing and you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it all clicks in together, and it's like, that's exactly what I meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so much easier than it is.
Yeah.
Because you'll have like a mental picture, like a visual, and you're trying to write it down, and sometimes it's just like. So I think there is a satisfaction when you get that. I don't know, and if you get it done, even if you did it badly, if you got it done, you still won.
Mm-hmm. Still made something. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So when you, how do you cope with the issues? You said that you read, but like, do you have like a self-care routine that's outside of being creative, or is like your whole life that?
I'm working on getting better at self-care. But I've been on and off psych medication since I was 17. And it's been an awesome tool. It's probably saved my life. I will. Like I said, I read a lot. I sit with my dogs. You saw I have a lot of animals here.
They're so cute, though. They just want to protect you. At least the little one does.
Yeah, she does. She's my buddy. I will try and kind of do things to make my physical self feel better. I think sometimes if you feel good in your body, then your brain kind of will like follow along.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take a bath, or I used to go to the gym a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been doing that lately. And I hate it for the first 3 months. My whole life, that's my pattern. It's like the first 3 months, I hate every second of it,
mm-hmm.
during and after. And I'm going in just like, ugh, so
I hate yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to get through 3 months of like just...
I think that's been my problem, is I haven't gotten through
sucks, and I hate it, and it's the worst,
mm-hmm.
and it hurts, and everything is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 4th month, you're like, this is awesome. But I know that about myself, so I'm like, okay, I just gotta...
Well, if you can embrace that, then you can at least pick up the patterns and work from there, and that's good. You can at least understand that. I just don't like... I'm really bad at exercising.
I have gone that way. If I have a routine of doing it,
mm-hmm.
then it's way easier for me to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to OKM. They do CrossFit and Krav Maga, and
oh wow.
Yeah, but it's not as intimidating as it sounds. They're really wonderful people, and they had a challenge class, and I was like, I don't like group exercise. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to like put my headphones on and pull my hat down. And, like,
yeah.
I'm not here for that. But I really loved it, and it helped me tremendously while I was doing it, both
mm-hmm.
mentally and physically, because there's kind of a group camaraderie, and it was... I did this thing on certain days at the same time, 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Somebody's going to say something if I don't go.
Mm-hmm.
Which is if I just go by myself. Like,
yeah.
Nobody's going to know if I didn't go for a year.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. There's not an accountability there.
Mm-hmm. So I try and do things to take care of myself. And I've more recently also started working on removing things from my life that make me feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
So like we all have things that we can't get rid of. Like I still have to get up early. It makes me feel bad. I don't want to do it. But things that remind me of all bad, no good, or like
mm-hmm.
clothes that pinch my belly, or
just
mm-hmm. that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, let's get rid of these things.
Yeah.
Even down to stuff like, I hate holding this coffee cup. I know that sounds really dumb, but it's like, but I have some that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just get,
donate.
Yeah, get some of these things out of my space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm trying to figure out how to say this the right way.
No, take your time.
Because it's not something I've talked about, not because I'm uncomfortable about it, but because I don't know how to say it the right way. I think that the sign thing has actually helped me as far as my creative process, which has been an unexpected side benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do open mic stuff. Like I read poetry at a fundraiser for Planned Parenthood last night.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was super fun.
That's going to be awesome.
And my whole life, I've had this, like, it's not good enough. It's
mm-hmm.
not good enough. So I'm not going to put it out there. It's not good enough.
Right.
Especially with writing. Just, like, really self-critical. And,
mm-hmm.
And in some way that kind of knocks back that mental health benefit of doing it if then you, like, kick your own ass about it.
Yeah.
And then I started doing this thing, which is... I started doing this thing because I was so sad that I felt like I couldn't cope.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends haven't made it. Like, are not on this planet, kind of haven't made it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never alone. Except for when I'm driving, so I think about all this crap when I'm driving.
Oh, of course.
And, like, my head gets to be this real bad neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me think of doing this in the first place. So, hilariously, I have horrible handwriting. Like,
I do too.
My entire life, like I used to get in trouble in grade school.
Oh, my mom would constantly yell at me about it. She hates it.
So I'm doing this thing, and at first I didn't think I was going to get caught, so I didn't think it would be connected to me anyway. But that has not been the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
And So it's like something that I just do badly.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it badly and have done badly my entire life.
Yep.
And I'm putting that out in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that say stuff about, like, oh, this is messy, but largely nobody cares.
No, I imagine not.
People do say stuff about it, but that's not the bulk of it. And it's been kind of funny because I've been so much of a perfectionist about, what I draw, what I paint, what I make.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm 41, and I didn't read any of my poetry in public until, 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was here, when we moved here.
That's
We've
awesome.
been here for 4 years. Because it wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't even occur to me to try and submit it anywhere because, like, oh my God. And so now I'm doing this thing, like, real badly. And real publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, everyone knows that it's me doing it. So, it's kind of like when you do something that freaks you out and then you realize it wasn't that bad.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, doing something really badly publicly is like the Cecily version of that dream people talk about where they have to go up in front of the class and they are not wearing pants.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, this is my terrible thing. And it's happening all the time. And it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah. Like, nobody died. It's all good.
Right. And it's actually helped me kind of get over myself
Mm-hmm.
with some of that perfectionism in other ways. So that's not something I thought about, but
Yeah.
then kind of as that has gone on,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, well, it's kind of an unexpected side benefit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That's a good thing.
yeah, but it just makes me think about, like, okay, well, if we just let ourselves do things badly
Mm-hmm.
and just let that be okay,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe we make more stuff.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's an awesome way to look at it.
And I make all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that has been... It's been an interesting thing, because I'll see them and I know exactly, like, I tripped over my foot,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, that's too close together, that one's messy. If it's windy, paint is, like,
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm a perfectionist by nature too, so it drives me nuts when I see something, especially after it gets printed or I turn it into a client, and they're like, oh, it looks great, and then I'm saying like, but I did okay, all right, I'm not gonna say anything. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
But I know they're messed up before I take them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I catch a spelling error, that's different.
Yeah.
But that happens too.
Mm-hmm. We're human. That's fine.
Yeah. And there's things where, for the most recent ones, like, there's words that I will have, like, I'll be spray painting with one hand and I'll have my phone and be like, okay. And then next is the E. Okay, that's the E. And then...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's really easy to go too fast and then realize that you missed 2 letters
Oh,
in
yeah.
the middle.
I imagine with something that huge.
I've gotten better about not doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but it still happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
No, it's not fatal.
So you talked about doing medication
Mm-hmm.
on and off through your life. Do you seek any other professional treatment? I mean, I'm personally am on medication. I've been to therapy, so I'm an advocate for both. But
I've done
to
both
each their
too.
own.
Yeah, I have been in therapy several times,
Mm-hmm.
and it has largely been helpful. Sometimes I feel like what you get from therapy is to just kind of push all that junk out,
Mm-hmm.
almost like draining a wound, just like, ugh, here.
Yeah.
And sometimes what you need are some tools
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't have or maybe didn't quite know how to apply. I saw someone, and it was for a specific event, so it wasn't like a long-term thing.
Mhm.
I think I saw her twice. She was really great, and she made me this list and printed it for me, and I carried it in my purse for months, and it was self-care things. And she's like, "What are you doing to self-care?" And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, yeah, you do. Okay, what are you doing? And I think that the tool I got from that, which has been super helpful, is we have this idea that self-care needs to be something big, or it needs to take all day, or you need to spend a bunch of money. And the next time I went in, I was like, she's going to think my list is really stupid. And she liked it, but it was stuff like, I got myself a new toothbrush that feels better in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I got shampoo that smells good.
Mm-hmm.
I put insoles in my shoes so my feet don't hurt as bad.
Yeah.
Just like, and they're all kind of like little things. And
it's still taking care of yourself.
Right. These are still self-care things. And they're, but I think that we're put off from thinking that we're doing self-care, and then it becomes another thing that we're doing badly.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have this idea like, it needs to be a spa day.
Yeah.
And it's like, A, I don't have the money for that. B, I don't have a whole day.
No.
Ever.
No.
And I also have no desire to like hang out in my robe with strangers.
Yeah,
No, right?
Like, I'll be happy to do it in my own home.
Right.
But like, no. Mm-mm.
No, that's fine. I will absolutely hang out in my robe all day at home. But the idea of doing that with strangers is like,
no thanks.
give me a Xanax first or something.
You're right.
I can handle it.
Knock me out. Fine.
Yeah, so there have been little things I think throughout the years too that I've learned in therapy that'll come up later, and I'll be like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Mm-hmm. And it might be something good, it might be something bad, but it'll be kind of a reminder of like, it's just like going to a class where you remember something like, oh, I learned how to put a sentence together this way in 9th grade English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like therapy is a lot the same way.
Mm-hmm. That was my same experience too. It wasn't until like, he would say things to me and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then it wasn't until it was in action and I had that little light bulb of, oh, that's what he meant.
Right.
I get it now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there have been things that have actually been really hard for me to change that don't seem like they would be that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drink coffee at 8 at night. Not hard, but actually hard.
Yeah. See, yeah, I'm...
Where it's like, this is self-destructive. And I'm just like, no, it's not. It's fine. It's fine. But it's not.
And then I'm up at 3 a.m. going, what did I do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's... I have to work harder at that like little stuff that doesn't seem like a big deal that snowballs into a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I just like am not functioning and a lunatic basically.
So is there anything else that you have to say about mental illness or mental health in this case, or is I guess a better term and not like just an overall message for anybody that's listening that's struggling?
Everything we put up on all the signs is true for everyone. I am really easy to find because I have an unusual name, and so I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, and I did not realize, I mean, everyone is in pain. We all know that. We're all in pain all the time. How many people feel alone in that? And it's really easy to stay alone in it. And it's super vulnerable to reach out to somebody, but it helps.
Yeah.
I have to do it. I hate doing it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate being vulnerable in any way, shape, or form, and I'm happy to just like get used to that discomfort and call someone.
Yeah. Or,
message somebody. Sometimes I would rather light my head on fire than make a phone call. So, so I'll message somebody that I trust, and you don't even necessarily have to say like, this day is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And I think that those little moments of connection get us all through.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that leads me into my normal disclaimer of we're not medical professionals or psychology professionals, so please seek the help that you need that will work for your needs, whether it's medication or it's a psychologist or psychiatrist or your primary care doctor, or like you said, reaching out to a friend or a family member, somebody that you trust. I absolutely encourage anyone to do that, what makes them comfortable. As long as it is healthy and safe for you, that's what matters most. So thank you for joining me or having me in your house.
Yeah.
But so where can we?
Dogs.
Perfect timing. So where can we find you? Do you have an Instagram, Facebook?
I am on Facebook, just with my name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have pages for any of my projects because it did not occur to me that I would need to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I'm on Instagram at Tarot Cece, which is a joke from an oatmeal cartoon about the pterodactyl, which is like not safe for work or kids at all, but it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Taken. And then and that's where I'm at. And we have I might end up making a separate page for projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have this ongoing sign thing, and then we have a garden thing coming up.
Ooh.
That's gonna be rad. Or it's gonna fail horrifically.
In which
I don't
case
know.
it's okay.
Yeah, in which case we learn something.
Yeah, fine.
And by the time that hopefully gets going smoothly, then it'll be Pride, and then and then I need to freaking rest.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. You do rest at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dogs make me. You know?
That's very true. I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Because they'll make you like sit down with them. Okay, sit down and pet the dog. Let them lay in your lap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you can't do anything
No,
because
you're
you have
not
a
allowed
dog
to move.
sleeping on you.
Mm-hmm. I do that with my cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I can't move for another hour, and I have to pee. But here we are.
I think it's actually helpful.
Oh yeah.
And animals are just like, oh, you're crying. Okay, maybe I'm concerned. Maybe I'm not. Pet the dog. You know? We joke around like if it's really awful, put a dog on it. So I have a friend.
Is that like the put a bird on it?
Yeah, yes, but it's like put a dog on it. It's just like that. I have a friend that will come and sometimes stay for a few days when things are going sideways, and we'll just call and be like, "I need to come put a dog on it." Like, awesome. I have dogs.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, but so my dogs are a lot of work, but
worth it.
Yeah, yeah, super good for me.
Well, that's awesome.
Most of the time.
Well, that's good. Well, again, thank you very much for inviting me in, and I appreciate you taking the time. We finally got this scheduled and figured out.
I know. My schedule's a mess.
Mine's too. I don't blame you.
Because I work a lot right now, but I should come back down to like 40 hours pretty soon. So I live in North Columbus, and I work in Grove City.
Ooh.
And then I have like kids and pets, and then projects and
things that demand time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And have you heard the thing about spoon theory?
No.
Oh, it's really good.
Ooh.
It's
what is it?
It's about fibromyalgia, but I think it applies to a lot of other stuff. And it uses like silverware as kind of a metaphor for energy. So it's like if somebody has 500 spoons, and then it costs like, okay, it takes 2 spoons to take a shower, it takes 1 spoon to eat breakfast, it takes 2 spoons to drive to work, it takes 8 spoons to be at work all day, and all of these things. But if you have a chronic illness, so mental or physical chronic illness, you have fewer spoons. And you just don't have as many to spend.
Yeah.
And you have to think about how you're going to ration them out. So, like, I don't have that many spoons, so I have to think about that kind of stuff, too. And I usually, Like if it's going to be a sign Sunday, I don't do that much on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
like run the errands that need to get run and stay in my robe for half the day and sit with my dogs and read a book.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm going to crash and burn the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you taking the time for this. So.
Yeah, no, this is not hard.
Yay, I'm glad to hear that.
We are not out here like fighting the wind to zip tie something to a fence.
Very true. Very, very true. Well, thank you again.
Yeah,
I appreciate
thanks for
it.
coming in.
Thank you guys for watching. We've got some awesome guests coming up in the next future in the future episodes. I can't even talk anymore. So hopefully you guys will stick around. Thank you so much for watching, and please take care of yourselves. Bye.